All right, darling, what a pleasure. Happy day 52. 52. Holla if you hear me. Day 52. Holla if you can hear me. And hit dogs holla. Do they not? Do they not holla when you hit them? Do they not holler when you're doing a fast and nobody checked in on you on day 22, 33, 44, all that? But now that you're getting some like real momentum, you're on day 52, your physical is not only adjusting, but you're energetic, you're emotional. And people can pick up on a pretty stimulated nervous system or a very dormant nervous system or a very regulated nervous system. Let's say that. Day 52. Can't stop, won't stop. Just right before I press record, it's it's like, please just do what you need to do. Most of the time I get into the seat, I have to actually just ground because it's go time from point A to point B and throughout the day. And I'm like, girl, you've lived like this for years. You're literally walking past families having dinner. You're delivering some of those dinners in these gorgeous houses. People are just collected. Girl, you're not meant to work every single day just to have your basic needs met. A little more than your basic needs. I mean, red light therapy is not a necessity, but I budget for it. It has to be an expense. I do so well with light therapy, just like I do very well with cold therapy. Just haven't been brolic enough to fully invest into a cold plunge. I got a cheap one, but it do what it do. It do what it do. So this is one of those circumstances where you just gotta get in, and you gonna get out. Okay, take a dip, rinse off, get out of there. Okay, and I wrote down a note. I try to keep notes throughout the day of just things that have hit me or have come to me, and I want to be respectful of getting those hits of intuition or curiosities. And what I wrote down, it says having such a strict protocol strengthens your moment for indulgence. I don't know if moment was the right word, but it definitely strengthens your desire for indulgence. But what are you talking about? Though they said a pattern starts to become a habit after a certain amount of days. Was it something like 21 days, 21 to 66 days, depending on your temperament? I am here to tell you when your brain is so good at rationalizing you being a naughty, naughty, naughty girl, rationalizing, making self sabotaging seem like the feasible, reasonable next step to do. This would actually add to the plan, not subtract. Yeah, I should just stop doing everything. I should actually have a prime rib steak right now because honestly, when you masticate it just enough, it's basically juice. It's basically juice. And the internal audience is like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. What, what more can you tell us about this? And then your salivary glands keep going, and it's like, oh, well, this is kind of actually percolating me a little bit. This is actually kind of stimulating me a little bit. Dang, we don't get stimulated like we used to anymore. Do you remember that? Things were so figure outable back then, Weren't they just so nice? Because we could just predict, we can go get our food, we can go eat at home, we could take a nice little nap on just a full stomach. Oh my gosh. Cut it the out. Do you remember that episode of Rick and Morty? Oh gosh, what it's called. But essentially, they were blaming Rick for bringing in some type of parasite. A parasite came into the house and it has the ability to inject itself in your memories. So you actually think you have a resonance with this image, but you believing in it, you giving it more of your attention actually strengthens it and it can duplicate, which is Rick and Morty have such great analogies. Oh my gosh. And so the more you acknowledge it, it's telling you like, hey, we've been friends since college. What are you talking about? We always work well together. I've been there in such the great times. And come to find out, the only way they knew it was an imposter if they only had good memories of it. And then they got to a point where they were so distorted, they didn't even know if the family was actually part of the memory or was it just made up because these memories felt real and they were just duplicating so effectively, efficiently. And then they started to pick up like, oh, and they would like shoot the weapon and they'll, point it at one of the members or one of the family members, and it's just nothing but horrid memories, just the most horrible memories that you could have in a family. Like, no, this is real. No. So isn't that funny? That our mind kind of does the same thing. Like, you remember when fast food used to make you feel so good, so whole, so complete? You remember that? Like, oh yeah, it did for a millisecond for that first bite. You got a hit of dopamine, and your dopamine receptors are like, yeah, yeah, we love this. Heck yeah. Something we have control over. We can just defer all that other nonsense in the back, This is what we focus on now. And I think it's a very biological, food has been our focus for however long we've been in existence. It's easy for us to focus on food. And now even easier to conquer, go the conquest of obtaining food. So you're remembering these memories like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, no, no. Do you also remember the heartburn? Do you remember the bloatedness? Do you remember the inflammation? Just if you need to see the inflammation again, look at your beginning videos. I'm bringing it there lovingly, Breezy. I'm bringing it there lovingly. Because I have to admit, this was the first time I actually let myself look at like my actual page because I wanted to update the banner or the thumbnail or whatever it's called. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you could see that first week, like I am inflamed. I'm inflamed. But your girl was still showing up though. She's still showing up every single day. And let me go back to what I said. Having such a strict protocol strengthens your desire for indulgence. I deserve this. I freaking deserve it. That's why women just majority of everything is targeted to us for marketing because we have this I deserve this. This is how I feel acknowledged. This is how I feel appreciated. This is how I feel seen. Usually buy something or doing something naughty that you maybe have to do when nobody's looking. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like what's it I'm so extreme with my scenarios. I'm like, girl, calm down. You don't even know what you can and can not say completely on YouTube. But yeah, anywho, I went down. See, when you let yourself go down that loop, and I'm utterly me and the dog Roger's already asleep over here. Like he's done. And yeah, we did what we had to do today. I have gotten such a little nugget. So I get these alerts that I'm looking for a job. I'm in between jobs and I actually have decided like, okay, if I'm going to give myself the grace to show up on YouTube and not expect it to sustain me in some way or just have so much pressure on building an audience or whatever, okay, I'm gonna have to sustain myself by other means. So maybe um not get as sporadic as contract work, but actually get into something more, stable, a little more certainty in this time. And as I said, I've mentioned in multiple videos, when you have a certainty in one area, it kind of gives you the comfort and like the stability to actually process in other areas. When you have insurance, when you have a check that's consistently coming, and mind you, the way you're so used to hustling, I bet you're probably going to use 40% less energy than what you're doing right now. Especially if you get a remote job. Oh my gosh, you don't have to rent a car. You don't have to worry about the insurance of said car. You don't have to worry about the maintenance of said car. I mean, even though it's somebody else's car, you want to treat it like it's your car. And so, yeah, so I've had opportunities come up and I'm like, okay, that sounds tantalizing. I know the opportunities I get really excited about. I have to have the courage, even if it's an absolute no, I have to have the courage to go for it. You should be hearing no at least a couple times a day, just to keep that expansion going, just to like be on the outer edge of your playground, just to give that intention that you can step over anytime. You can step over to the other side of the sidewalk anytime. Let the universe know, like, hey, I could play both sides. If you want to help me get to the other side, that'll be great. I'm ready for it. So opportunities are starting to come up, and I'm like, wow, I would really want to just have my next opportunity be just centered around like wealth and luxury, whether that's being an associate at a wealth management firm or administrative assistant. I was like, I know I need to be next to wealth. So I missed the opportunity with possibly a remote job, and it was actually local in Boise for a pretty well-known wealth management company. But I'm like, girl, I let myself go back and forth instead of just shooting the trigger. And I'm seeing in certain areas of my life, the trigger being shot is giving you feedback, is actually producing some results. And girl, more than half have been in your favor. So the odds are kind of up there. And I had this one opportunity just pop up. It's a remote job, but it was based in Florida. And it was a husband and wife who have created this wonderful travels agency that is just so you could feel how grounded in integrity this is. They don't have salespeople. They don't have people who could do commission. This was just an opportunity I think it was just to be like essentially concierge to luxury yachts, luxury cruise lines, luxury experiences. I'm like, girl, you already salivate off of that stuff. Why wouldn't you want to be engulfed and just being surrounded by that? Oh, well, it's already in Florida, and the hours would have equate to about 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. your time. You're telling me that wouldn't work perfectly for you? You get to you don't have to sell. There's an actual wait list to get in this program. Oh, but I don't know about. Girl, did you not forget you ran 3 mental health clinics in your early 20s? Did you not forget you were the procurement officer for one of the biggest fire truck manufacturing companies, if not in the country, if not in the world, in the country? You were on a job just a couple months ago and you got promoted within 3 weeks. I'm sorry, where's the hesitancy? Didn't you say you wanted to practice hearing no? Or do you only want to hear from the no's that you're comfortable with receiving, not the real core wound no's, not the real rejection of something you really wanted? If something is passive and you didn't care for, oh yeah, I can hear no. Somebody you really wasn't interested in, no, that's fine, yeah. Best of luck to you. Best of luck. Oh, but when it's something you start to salivate and like, oh, you already know what kind of a nerd you are when you really get excited about something. And one of the prerequisites of you can't just send an application. You actually have to call the owner and formally kind of introduce yourself, and then you can send a resume. I'm like, oh, that's a big balls. Big balls. I want to hear you. And the owner, I was reading his backstory. When I'm just fascinated with the company, I just go through their whole backstory, go through the BBB, and I'm just looking at what this man has accomplished. He's been doing this since 1987. Luxury travel since 1987. Can you imagine about the spots he knows that nobody else knows about? Can you imagine just mentoring under him? If that's your style, if that's what, maybe you want to, maybe this is a liken to studying under like a financial bro or somebody who's on the Wall Street Journal or Michelle Obama. I mean, not that big, but you know, you got curiosity. So instead of just trying to talk myself out of it, I'm learning to outsource. So I'm like, who would be really good to talk about this with? I talked about this when I was doing this with my when I go on dates. I'm like, who's a good friend I could just call that would loosen up this energy so I can think critically? Because I think a lot of us just need to hear ourselves express it, and then like, okay, I think I know what to do, or at least I got that electric charge, that energetic charge off of me, so I don't show up bouncing off the walls or show up just wanting to solve people's problems. Like, oh yeah, this is me, this is them, and then this is like the energy we can kind of create together, should we choose. But with any relationship, it has to be a mutual benefit. I got to a speech in my head. I was like, sir, I'm willing to learn about your business for the next 6 to 8 weeks and make this my goal and mission to know everything about what has created this mission and what will continue to sustain this mission. I feel like his company is just beginning. He has a pretty small team for the massive amount of numbers he's doing. I'm like, how is this possible? It just intrigued me. And his wife had some really high awards with the traveling group and named some pretty high ranking things. I'm like, this makes me salivate. And he started from humble beginnings. He worked as a dishwasher salesman. He worked as a comedian. He worked at all that. And even on the resume or the applicate or the job listing, it says if you ain't got a little bit of humor, like you don't need to apply. In so many words, it was said way more eloquently than that. I was like, oh well, I am a clown if you need me to be. And I could do different accents if you need me to be. You want us to sound more international? I got you. Talk about the edge you would have just learning from this person. Having the balls to go to Florida and actually meet them, not having this shit. And you know, the pay, I think it's only like $21, $22 an hour. And you get like discounts and you get a 401k matching. So no medical, dental insurance. It doesn't seem like the things I would really like feel holistic about. So I'm like, okay, this is intriguing me. Even looking at this man's picture, it's intriguing me. Even remember I told you 777s have been really significant as of these last couple of weeks. His phone number was yada 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 7777. I'm like, oh, interesting, interesting, interesting. If not, if not, if not for you, then who? Who to do this for? Just maybe this is just an example to just prove to yourself that you're about that life. That if you choose to willingly go into an arena where you have they ask and require for luxury cruise line and luxury destination like history, that you have a history in that. So I can only imagine the people that they're getting in. But also, I'm like, so many people are so afraid to make a phone call. It's probably not as much as you think, girl. You could probably have a great conversation in the least. It's like, oh, well, they're 2 hours ahead. I should probably call them a little later. Okay, I'll work for a few hours and then I'll call them like around noon time. It's about 9 o'clock in Idaho and I'm just getting home. What's that about? What's that about? You say you're gonna, this morning, you're like, I'm about to research the hell out of this company and understand how can I be a benefit to this. How can I just be a part of this? How can I contribute? I'm almost ready to do an internship free. I'm like, this just sounds amazing. Old school website. I'm like, ooh, how can I make this better? Just like a projector mind, how it thinks, right? From human design. That's because they don't run ads. They do everything like above par. They don't have sales associates. They don't have access to their database of their clients. They don't do advertise. Nothing. Nothing. It's pure, what do they call it? It's a fiduciary responsibility to really just fulfill the client's needs. I'm like, this is a company I would even want to be invited to be a part of, like as a consumer, as a customer, let alone working here. Can you imagine the intel that you can get? Can you imagine how that would expand your mind? Like, wait, this place is real? Wait, this is actually a service that is offered? What? Imagine how mind blowing that would be on your road to evolution. So I reached out to my good friend Lauren, and she's just always she's originally from North Carolina, but she moved to Idaho for a period of time. And I met her around the time I was married. But she's always been in the community. Always. So many people know Lauren. And she will get you into the community by force or by pull. I can attribute to so many new places that I found and so many people that I've met because of her telling me like, "Oh, we got an event tonight. You should come." And so I told her about it. I was like, Lauren, I told her just as I explained to you, this is not my background. I just have a pool. And she's actually coaching the volleyball tournament right now because usually she's on it with her phone and she didn't pick up, so I had to send her audio because her mailbox is full. I was like, girl, number one, your mailbox is full. Get on top of that. Number two, this is my scenario, blah, blah. And of course I knew her. She's like, girl, you know me. You know I always say go for it. And she's like, I can see you being a Florida mommy. I said, oh, that's a high praise. That's some high praise. Thank you. We know what the criteria is working with Florida. And maybe that's just a friend saying that. But I'm like, oh shoot, okay. And she said, why not? What's the worst that could happen? And she's like, if I was booking a service through a travel agency, I would want to talk to the most excited, happiest, bubbly, most energetic, bonding person that I could. And she was like, and that's you. I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Outsource this sometimes, if you have the capability of doing so. Maybe if you're only outsourcing to ChatGPT. They'll hype you up, right? They'll hype you up. But sometimes you need to get the thought outside of your head. There will be a time for journaling. There will be a time to outsource it to a coach or a mentor. And there'll be a time to like really reflect in yourself or with a friend, with a trusted, safe friend. And sometimes the hype person needs a hype girl too. And know who those people are in your corner. And it will change everything of how you're thinking. So I know with such strictness as the juice protocol, with everything I've ever done that's strict, whether it's 75 hard, whether it's training to win a national, athletic sponsorship, scholarship, all that, I go so hard in the paint that my sneakers actually scrape up all the paint. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess I've worked too hard, so now I'm just gonna relax while you guys repaint all this. Like, no, you're actually on a different court down the block right there. That's your next one. So I'm prone to when I'm doing something really, really hard, you get bored. That could be with ADHD too. You just get bored. Like, okay, this is not the fear and the excitement of this is not scaring me anymore because I've just maintained it so well and I know what to expect now. Can we get some sabotage? Can we get some stimulation? Can we get some type of thrill back in this? Because this is very just cookie cutter. God forbid we have a system that works. When you've had a daily dose of chaos every hour on the hour since you were an infant. It's interesting, you guys. And that's when you have to call in more clarity, more willpower, more just you can do hard things. Don't let your mind start to sugarcoat you now because they tried to use the brute force. They tried to use the aggressive cravings. It's tried to distort the mind, but you're running so cleanly. You're running so efficiently. It's like your body's like, wait, we actually kind of feel good, so can we kind of keep doing this? But your brain's like, wait, we need to know something we need a wave of something. How about the wave of doing something scary like calling that guy, calling this job posting, not knowing how it goes, but really just, if anything, tell him how much you admire what he's accomplished and you have hopes to work with him one day or be a client of his and that you just see what he's doing and how he impacted you for that day. Maybe that's just what the conversation is. Maybe that's exactly what you needed, and maybe that's exactly what he needed. Now, by you overthinking, you're messing up both of your blessings. How many times have we just psyched ourselves out? And that's when food comes in because we're like, oh, food is a band-aid to shame and guilt. And what if, especially something you were excited for? What if I talked to that guy a little longer? What if I made more eye contact to show him I was available? What if I just randomly call this guy in Florida and be like, I just love everything about your company? What if you spent that $50,000 differently? What if it's so many what ifs. I don't want to carry that anymore. You've always been bold. You've always been courageous. But whatever physical, spiritual, like, neuter happened, oh, that's a man. That's a man, right? Is it do dogs have vasectomies or they just say get fixed? What's the woman equivalent? I only have boys. I've only ever had boys. Something flipped in your mind and short circuited to make you think we will only survive if you just stay quiet, if you play small, if you're not a threat to anybody, if you don't be too bold, if you don't be too loud, if you don't be too, why are you happy all the time? You know how many times I've gotten asked that through my lifetime? Through my fucking lifetime? You're asking me why I'm happy? It even used to rub my ex-husband the wrong way. I remember one time he turned at me and I didn't register it. I was like, it looked like he was just disgusted. He was like, you don't have to be happy all the time. I was like, oh, that's when the mask started dropping for both of us. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, his mask dropped and mine got put on. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I am doing too much. I guess my mother was right. I guess my second grade teacher was right. No, that's not my second grade teacher. Miss Williams was the shiznit. I'm just putting an analogy out there. You know, these are learned traits, but it's up to us to say, wait, you were also that bold girl that took a random flight and met a stranger and had fun, and you were always pushing the edge. You were always pushing the edge, and that's tantalizing. That's appetizing to people until they're actually within it, and actually in the container, and it just agitates what they haven't been working on or what they haven't been doing. And now I'm actually fine with people being agitated. Those really just thick looking people are just upset and angry at their own life. I'm like, I don't even really see them people no more. I got a few wrinkled raisins. I don't even see them anymore. It doesn't resonate. People asking if I'm on drugs or if I'm on amphetamines. It's mainly middle-aged white men who are just hardened and have only, but they come around often, too often sometimes. And I have to know if I'm feeling good, it just comes out. It takes more energy to try to be quiet and try to cover my laugh and try to hold myself in with all this energy that wants to come out of me. Sometimes I feel like the energy of the sun wants to come out of me. I'm like, okay, girl, we just gotta really fine tune how to channel this properly. Because they come in bursts sometimes. We haven't had a steady flow just yet, but we're learning. We're learning. We're giving ourselves our basic needs: sunlight, movement, nutrients, moisture, hydration, rest, safety from what we can control. You know? I'll leave it at that. I love you so much, and just know people have been waiting for you to show up. People have been waiting to access you in some way, in some form. People have been waiting for you to just be out there long enough to they can find you. It's going to be vulnerable. It's okay if you're going to be lonely, but in my mind, I can't help but feel that it's going to be worth it. And everything is for just the greatest, most beautiful good. You've seen what the other side. You've seen what sticking to your pride, sticking to what you find familiar, sticking to brute force. You actually can't do it anymore. You won't do it anymore. You're willing to bet on the unseen now. That takes some bolage. That takes some. That takes some Bolivio. That takes some huevos. Okay. Especially in these times where everybody's afraid of something. They may be able to learn to hide it pretty well, but like I always said, real recognize real. You start picking up even more micro expressions. You can smell people. You're more prone to see sickness in people's face. I'm just saying. I don't know how this is happening, but you can tell who's like just by passing. You don't even have to look at them. You can feel the energetic field when you pass somebody close enough. That's how sensitive you get. But maybe you have sensitivities in other ways. Maybe you can hear a lot more clearer. Maybe your vision is clearing up. Maybe your sensations, like your showers are hitting more. Maybe how you put on lotion is just a little more sensitive. This is what we're here to explore in our own little way. So, thank you for hearing my reflections. Thank you for casting on your own journey. I can't wait to see where we end up. Will we cross paths? Who knows? But I will be here every day until the mission is done. And the next mission. I'm prepared for the next mission. All right. I love you so much. Happy day 52. Happy Saturday here from Boise, Idaho. It's just 9:10 p.m. I'm going to take a hot shower. The dog is already asleep. And we're going to wrap up the day. Got a lot of juicing to do in the morning. So I'm looking forward to that. How wonderful. Okay. Enjoy your night. And you know where to find me tomorrow. All right. Love you, dear. So proud of you. Keep going, sweetheart. Let's just see what's on the other side of our edge. Now it's just starting to pull you. Now you just start to get curious. Follow that curiosity. I think it means something important. All right. I love you so much. Good night.